All right, I think we're live. I think everybody can see me and hear me, hopefully. Hello, everyone. It's Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to cover SpaceX Starship Test Launch 6. We're going to have the SpaceX feed for you. Yeah, there'll be a countdown and stuff. We have the SpaceX feed, so you'll see that in a second. We are here live. So I appreciate you joining us. I believe the launch window opens at 5 p.m. And so I think there'll be a countdown on the screen shortly. And thanks to our moderators we have. By the way, like in the previous test flight, in this test flight, the SpaceX is going to attempt to have the rocket booster come down to Earth and then be caught in the chopstick arms, the mechanical chopstick arms at the launch pad. So we'll see that. Roberts May Queen is moderating over on YouTube. Beth Mythical is there on YouTube. Appreciate them modding. Linda Belk and Larry over on X. Over on Twitch, we have A Moment of Lovely and Surly Dev modding right now on Facebook. Let me shout out our mods there. Again, we're waiting for the coverage to start over there on SpaceX. We'll show you that. On Facebook, we have modding. Margaret Riley is there. Thank you. Chris, we have a special shout out to do. A very special shout out to our viewers who have found us over on Kick. Yes, we are on Kick for the first time today. We are experimenting. We're trying it out over on Kick. We got D Crusher over there, Demos, Heinze, Actual Ammo. We're not even monetized on Kick yet. I don't even know how that works. But it's our first Kick stream. We got No Limit Zor over there. So we're going to see how that goes. Kick.com/AgendaFreeTV. What is Kick? If you know, you know, I guess. Is that what the kids say these days? It's another streaming platform. So we're trying out Kick. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Hold on 1 second here. I got it. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so thanks to our viewers for checking us out over on Kick. We'll see how that goes. Hey, by the way, I can't show you the footage of it, but President-elect Trump is at the launch. There was like pool footage of him at the launch, but I don't have the rights to show that footage. Why are we looking at a stock image? Because this is literally the broadcast before it starts. I believe that's the SpaceX broadcast. So we're looking at the SpaceX stream, which has not actually started doing anything besides this stock image. Yes, we will be showing the launch. We will have live footage of the launch. We're literally going to have live footage from SpaceX. Let me do something real quick here. Let me just do something real quick. Yeah, I think Reuters hasn't gone to the footage yet. For some reason. Why? I got to check in with Reuters. What's wrong with their feed? It seems like they should be showing the... I'm going to check in with Reuters. Because they should be showing the SpaceX feed right now. As soon as they go to it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a technical difficulty, I think, with the SpaceX feed. With the Reuters feed. As soon as Reuters gets it up there, I'll have it for you. They should have it up there momentarily. They have the countdown and everything. So let me just keep my eye out for that. Any moment now, I'll have that feed for you. Okay. While we wait to get that feed, let's talk for a second about this launch. Okay? We're going to talk about this launch for a second. By the way, you can see AP says, Trump and Musk solidify their bond with Texas trip for rocket launch. No, the current countdown is 32 minutes. I will have that for you shortly. There's a bit of a Reuters issue where they got to get their stream going. As soon as Reuters gets their stream going, I'll have it for you. AP says Donald Trump arrived in Brownsville, Texas, to watch one of Elon Musk's companies test its Starship rocket, the latest sign of a deepening bond between the president-elect and the world's richest man. He is there. SpaceX to launch 6th Starship test from Texas with Trump attending. Again, any moment now, I should have the feed from SpaceX to start showing you. I'm sorry, we normally would have it by now, but for whatever reason, Reuters is running a little late. Hey, by the way, thanks to Janice McConnell for your support. I really appreciate that, Janice. Also, JW. Thanks, JW. Yeah, we have to stream, I think, for a certain number of hours on Kick before we get monetized over there. But thanks, JW. Also, Debbie James, our member, the top dog, who says, glad we have some fun news to cover for once, and Debbie James for the gift memberships. Thanks, Debbie James. No, well, again, any moment now, I will have the footage from SpaceX. Reuters says this is the 6th test of the giant Starship rocket from Texas, eyeing improvements in its hypersonic reentry into Earth's atmosphere and a novel technique for landing its booster. Oh, hold it, I got the feed. I got the feed. Here we go. Here's the feed. There it is. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to get this situated right on the screen. So what I'm going to do is put this here. Ooh, I think that's pretty good. Now, I don't know if are they playing the audio yet? There's this. Why am I not hearing anything? For some reason now I don't hear the audio. We're getting there. We're getting there. We are getting there. We just don't have the audio at this point. So we're partially there. We're partially there. If they can just get the audio going, then we'll be all set. I'm getting this. I got to put up the thing live video via Reuters. Hold on. Let me put up a little caption for you, for me. Let me get a little caption on the screen. At least we have the countdown clock up there. Obviously, this is not Beirut View 2. Where is it here? Okay, that's that. So we'll get this up there. Throw this over here. Okay. We're waiting to get sound, although I can't play the music anyway. Sorry. All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we're getting there. So we're going to watch this together. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. Hang on a second here. Reuters says that by the way, Trump is there for the launch. Reuters said the roughly 122-meter tall rocket system, about 400 feet, is designed to land astronauts on the moon and ferry crews to Mars. The first stage on the bottom, called Super Heavy, is due to boost Starship into space before returning to land. See, that's Super Heavy on the bottom. The Starship spacecraft and Super Heavy rocket booster. Super Heavy is going to return to Earth and get caught in the mechanical arms there if all goes well, while Starship travels around Earth for a planned daytime splashdown in the Indian Ocean some 90 minutes later. Guys, I have a request for people in the chat. It seems like every time I cover something now, all these people in the chat are saying, are you going to cover this? What about this? We cover one event at a time. If you have coverage suggestions, I welcome that. Please send them to me on X. Please don't put them in the chat. The chat is not the coverage suggestions request inbox. The chat is for discussing this stream, okay? So we're covering one event at a time. I appreciate the suggestions. Please don't put them in the chat. Please just put them, please send them to me on X at Lookner. Thank you.
Follow Mechazilla, but
okay.
I do have one better.
Hold on.
Bananas have been used for quick visual comparisons for quite some time, and our teammates thought it was time to bring the venerated yellow fruit to Starship.
Today we're flying Starship's first ever physical payload, which is, as you might have guessed, is a banana.
That's a live view inside Starship, and if you look closely, you can see our stuffed banana payload, which is doubling as today's zero gravity or zero G indicator. And while this payload will remain inside the vehicle at all times and will not be deployed today, it did give us a chance to do a test run of payload approval processes with the FAA. And that's something that we're hoping to do next year if we start flying our first Starlink satellites on Starship. Godspeed, banana.
Some additional size for context. You can see on your screen a Starlink Mini next to a banana for scale. And to get an even better sense of how big Starship is, let's take the average size banana next to the average size human, which is about 2 meters high. Towering over our average human is the length of the Millennium Falcon, which comes in at 35 meters. Our Falcon 9 rocket with the payload fairing attached is double the size of the Millennium Falcon at 70 meters, and nearly twice the size of that is the fully integrated Starship at 121 meters tall. The ship is about 50
400
meters,
feet tall.
and the Super Heavy booster alone stands 71 meters tall. And we do have plans to make the ship and booster even taller in the future.
And yeah, it might be hard to imagine that because it's pretty big already. Now, Starship's first stage has a diameter roughly 2.5 times that of Falcon 9. And as you can see on your screen, with 33 much larger Raptor engines. I love this view. This is looking up at the aft end of Starship there at the engine bay. Now, moving up the rocket, the ship features 6 Raptor engines, 3 sea levels and 3 vacuum engines, which are optimized to operate in the vacuum of space. The ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface, like the surface of the moon, for example. This ship is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing.
To reach full reusability, the ship must survive re-entry not just once, but multiple times. It took the teams at SpaceX about 3 years to develop the heat shield on Starship, and development for improvements is still ongoing. The ship's heat shield is composed of thousands of hexagonal ceramic.
So a big thing with this Starship's system is they want it to be reusable. And so they want, again, use the same booster and the same spacecraft again and again and again. So as part of that, they are working on the technology and developing the technology to bring, for example, the booster. Last test flight was the first time they had done this with this booster, I believe, at least with the Starship test launch, is they brought the booster, the Super Heavy booster back, and they had it caught in the original arms right there at the launch pad. So they're going to be doing that today. But it's a big goal for this is the reusability, and they're really emphasizing the reusability.
And how that's changing for today's flight.
On October 13th, Starship successfully lifted off at 7:25 a.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas. A gorgeous sunrise ascent that was fairly quickly followed by the hot stage separation maneuver, which we see here, as well as on multiple previous Starship flights. The booster then performed a flip maneuver, boost back burn, and then we jettisoned that hot stage, which you see there. The booster then performed its boost back burn, which brought it back on a trajectory to the launch tower, back to the Gulf Coast. We can see here the booster descending through the Earth's atmosphere. It broke the sound barrier again as it was coming back through. Those Raptor engines relit, and then the moment that made us all lose our minds, the booster came back for a successful first ever catch by the chopstick arms back at the exact same launch tower that it launched from. It was insane. As you can see, we all went bananas. And you did too, probably. Thousands of distinct vehicle and pad criteria had to be met, and thanks to the tireless work of the entire Starship team, we succeeded on that first attempt.
And while that all was happening, ship was continuing to coast towards the Indian Ocean. It executed an excellent coast, made its way down through re-entry, relit its engines, did that flip maneuver, relit its engines for landing burn, and then splashed down into the Indian Ocean. Now that whole flight test concluded, that splashdown 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds after launch.
Starship's 5th flight test was one of our most ambitious yet, and as we work to demonstrate techniques fundamental to Starship and Super Heavy's fully and rapidly reusable design.
And I think I speak for all of us when I
Full
say
reusability.
that seeing the catch for the first time was an extraordinary moment for the entire SpaceX team. We've seen a lot of wild firsts here, but that was truly an epic moment in time.
Yeah, we're not forgetting that anytime soon. Certainly one in the history books. Now, today's mission profile is very similar to Flight 5, but there are some differences that we've incorporated as we prepare for future reuse. About 20 minutes from now, Super Heavy will ignite its 33 Raptor engines and lift off from Starbase. About 2.5 minutes into flight, the booster will separate from the ship in a hot stage separation, and we've seen that occur on multiple flights, including Flight 2, 3, 4, and 5. About 2 seconds after that burns, we'll jettison that hot stage. The booster will perform its flip and boost back maneuver. And we will once again look to return the booster to the launch site for a catch by the tower's chopstick arms. And once again, we will only attempt that if both the booster and tower are healthy after launch. We were successful last time, but we should emphasize that this process is still very new. And this is still just a test, so success is very far from guaranteed today. It's always a possibility that we'll lose the vehicle. It's a contingency that we always plan for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, while the booster is doing its job, the ship's 6 engines will remain lit for a few minutes before shutting down and then going into the coast phase. The ship will coast for a total of about 40 minutes or so, reaching a peak altitude of approximately 213 kilometers. Now, one additional objective for this flight during coast is an in-space burn using one of ship's Raptor engines. Doing a burn while in space will build confidence that we can do deorbit burns, which is a key capability for upcoming orbital missions. Now, after the coast phase, the ship will attempt a controlled re-entry, and if ship makes it all the way down, we'll once again perform a flip and landing burn before splashing down in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah. Now, there are some notable changes to our entry plans for this flight, and they will intentionally push the ship to and very likely beyond its limits. This includes several thermal protection upgrades and operational changes as we prepare for future ship catch and reuse. Today's flight test will also test new secondary thermal protection materials, and entire sections of the heat shield has actually been removed in certain areas. And on top of all of that, we're going to fly the ship at an aggressive angle of attack once it's moving slower than the speed of sound.
Now, this means we'll be flying nose down instead of our usual belly flop orientation during final descent. This will no doubt stress the limits of the flap's ability to maintain control, but it will be a chance to get real flight data on what our limits actually are.
So, to put it as bluntly as possible, do not be surprised if this is not a smooth flight to Splashdown today. We are intentionally looking for how far we can push and discover the vehicle's true limits as we plan for future ship return and catch.
And even though ship recovery is not expected today, the telemetry and data we receive all the way to the end is what we're looking for and what will help us get to a rapidly reusable Starship of the future.
Now, just like Flight 5, one of our objectives for Flight 6 is attempting to return the booster to the launch site to be caught by the tower. The booster for this flight has upgrades to add redundancy across its propulsion system, increase the structural, as well as increasing the structural strength in a few spots. We've also implemented a few changes across both ship and tower to try and speed up the post-catch timeline. Returning vehicles to the launch site leverages the same hardware that we use for stacking ahead of flight, making our infrastructure multi-purpose. And in order for us to achieve that rapid reusability that we keep talking about, we need a quick turnaround. And you can't get much faster than returning the launch vehicle right back there to where it needs to launch from again.
Exactly. In this video, you can see our original render of booster catch alongside the actual footage of catch from Flight 5. This video is just mind-blowing to see the predicted versus reality. And just like the last flight for today's booster catch, there are thousands of criteria that need to be met in order to proceed with catch. Automated checks have to indicate we have a healthy booster and a healthy tower, and the flight director must issue a manual command which is informed by manual checks from the flight control team. If this command is not sent prior to the completion of the boost back burn, or if automated health checks show unacceptable conditions with super heavy or the tower, the booster will default to a trajectory that takes it to a landing burn and soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
I remember when we first heard the call out that tower was go for catch on Flight 5, and wow, I still get goosebumps when I think about that moment. Now, for today's test, just like Flight 5, we're only going to catch if everything on the booster and the tower checks out after launch. As always, we accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public and our team. And so to that end, the area around the pad and the flight path are cleared in advance.
A lot of things have to go right in order to line up the booster catch. So if all criteria is met, we will attempt to catch, but there is a chance that we may not. Either way, we'll be getting tons of in-flight data, which is extremely valuable.
Exactly. That first catch was pretty epic, though. So like you, we'll be keeping our hopes high to see another one this afternoon. Now, Dan, you got to see it in person last time. Are you mentally prepared for a possible round 2?
I mean, probably not. That was pretty hands down the coolest thing I've ever seen. And the fact that we're going to do that every time now breaks my brain a little bit, but it was absolutely incredible. One of the unique aspects with Super Heavy coming back is it does generate a sonic boom. This is something commonly associated with reusable spacecraft. It's coming in faster than the speed of sound and then slowing down. It creates that pressure wave that builds up. And then when it reaches you on the ground, that rapid change in pressure is that quick thunderclap sound that you hear. Now, generally the only effect is that thunderclap sound. But if you're not expecting it, it's definitely going to get your attention. And we were able to hear it last time. The impact of, or how loud it is, changes pretty dramatically. And in this video, you can see as we were descending, and there was kind of that quick triple pop that you heard. Now that was picked up from closer to the pad. Most people at our distance and further away, you're only going to hear one or two as they're happening kind of so on top of each other that it might just sound like one big bang. But as I said, that's something that's only associated with spacecraft being reused. We hear it with Falcon 9. We heard it during Shuttle, and looking forward to hopefully hearing it today. Just a quick status check, though. We're about 85% full on ship, almost 2/3 of the way full on booster, continuing to count down about 13.5 minutes, a little under that, until we lift off today. But still looking good. I'll check back in with you guys in a few minutes. Back over to Jesse and Kate.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I think Dan said it really well when it really does hurt the brain to think that this is going to be the norm, that this is just the beginning. Every one of these flights is a step closer to a fully operational Starship that will take us beyond Earth orbit. And with our pace of rapid iteration here, the Moon and Mars are not nearly as far in the future as you may think. In fact, we're planning to send Starships to Mars as soon as 2026.
Which is when the next Mars transfer window opens, which is under 2 years from now. Now, you might be familiar with the Starlink logo, which you see there on your screen. It's an iconic representation of the Mars transfer orbit, also called the home and transfer orbit. This transfer window, or the time between the time when Earth and Mars are closest to each other, opens every 26 months and is only open for about 2 to 3 months at a time for a vehicle with Starship's power.
Lining up a launch to Mars is similar to how we launch to the International Space Station, where we time the launches to match the station's orbit. If we didn't do this, we would need more propellant and more time to get there.
So the first opportunity we have to fly Starships to Mars, we plan to go for it. These first flight tests to Mars will be uncrewed and will test the reliability of landing in tech. If those landings go well, the first crewed flights will soon follow after that.
Right now, our flight tests are focused on proving out reusability of both Super Heavy and Starship. In 2025, we'll continue that focus while also potentially flying our first Starlink missions.
Let me take a few comments from you guys. I want to read a few comments from you. What do you think about all this? We're about 11.5 minutes away from the launch. So I'm going to check some of your posts right now. Messi thinks it's the coolest autonomous spaceship ever built. Ron Kubi says it is go time. Melissa Yakobachi says never fails to fascinate me. The one and only says, I love that sonic boom when it lands. Amazing sound.
Once on the lunar surface, they'll ride the elevator down in their Axiom E.
Thanks again to all of our moderators. Thanks also to Tia Marie and Nate75 for your support. And also Glenn Tech for subscribing on Twitch, and Cool Wiener69 for subscribing on Twitch. Wayne Buzzard says NASA could never do this.
So exciting, and all the advancements that are going to come in order to enable all of that.
Light Surfer thinks Elon is a genius. Justin King says, hope it goes good to stay on schedule. It's going to launch. You can see there's a clock in the top left corner. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Ronnie the Zombie says if they continue to succeed, space launches will become much cheaper. Bill B17 says, looks like a silver bullet. UV Lightning says 10 minutes.
To learn as fast as possible, we accept no compromises when it comes to the safety of the public or our team. So all that to say, this is only the 6th of many future flight tests of Starship before it becomes...
There are no humans on board this
We
flight.
tend to do our testing out in the open, just like today. And that means people sometimes see when our hardware doesn't perform as we planned during that testing. And that's okay, because this is exactly what we are testing for, to physically see if hardware performance matches what we expect it to do or not. Even more with today's test flight, where we're purposefully pushing the ship beyond its limits.
Starship development is also being aided by Starlink space-based connectivity. You might remember the Starlink panels that are incorporated into Starship, and you can see them there on your screen, those rectangular panels on Starship's nose cone. Starlink brings us the epic views in space and on re-entry, and also helps deliver us critical flight data engineers need to continue development.
Yeah, Starlink continues to help us push the limit.
7 minutes ago, SpaceX posted Starship and Super Heavy's 39 Raptor engines are cooling down, are chilling down in preparation for liftoff. We're going to be taking your comments during the flight. I think there'll probably be a point during the flight where they're out of video range or out of signal. So, but the first part of the flight, actually, let me give you the timeline real quick. Hang on a second here. Let me just, because SpaceX posted the timeline. Where is it here? Yes, so they said the landing of the booster will happen about 7 minutes after the launch. So about 7 minutes after the launch, that's when the rocket booster lands and is caught in the chopstick arms. The whole flight is supposed to take about 65 minutes, an hour and 5 minutes, according to the SpaceX website.
Redundancy and the ability to operate for longer durations in space.
One unique aspect of a trip to Mars are the different conditions ship will see when entering the Martian atmosphere.
They're talking about Mars because they want to use this ship to eventually fly to Mars.
We have heat shield materials inside a specialized plasma jet chamber at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, where we're able to more closely simulate Mars's 95% carbon dioxide atmosphere.
Aside from looking awesome, this is important testing.
Wits End says, I hope we come in peace and not in pieces.
Elements exposing Starship to atomic oxygen, which increases surface heating and can cause materials to oxidize or start to break down. Spacecraft entering over Mars encountered more than twice the amount of atomic oxygen at their peak when compared to Earth, and that is certainly a unique challenge. As we continue to test, we'll learn more about what makes a great heat shield for Mars. All right, now that we're heading into the final minutes of the countdown, let's go back to Dan for the latest on the ground there at Starbase.
Hey, Kate, afraid I have nothing but good news for you. We have a go from our range safety team. We are a little over 90% full on ship, almost 85% full on booster, and not tracking any holds to an on-time liftoff. So we've got about 3 more minutes of prop load. As long as the range stays clear, we don't trip any other holds, we might blow right past that T-minus 40-second mark and lift off right at the top of our window at 4 p.m. Central. So toss it back to you guys one more time, but fun part about to start, we are, a little under 6 minutes away from launch.
All right, so we are continuing to progress now at 5
Here
minutes
we go,
and
guys.
43 seconds until liftoff. Now, once we pass the T-minus 40-second mark, a number of events are going to occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems will come up to flight pressure, and the ship will go on to internal power.
And then after that, the quick disconnect, or what we call the QD arm lockout, is removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. And once we pass the T-minus 40-second mark, we still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and then hold there to assess what happened and if we can proceed again to T0.
Exactly. However, once the water for the deflector system begins flowing at T-minus 10 seconds, any issue after that would be an automatic scrub for the day, as the teams would need to refill the deflector's water tanks as well as the propellant storage tanks over at the tank farm before we're able to make another attempt.
Now, it is just so unbelievable that it's just been only a little over a month, and we are just a few minutes away from Flight 6. The crowd here is building up. We've got a much larger crowd here than when we were launching at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yep. 4.5
here,
minutes.
So very exciting to have an afternoon.
Yeah, it's a good point. A lot of times these launches are like at nighttime or like really early in the morning. And this is just, I believe it's almost 4 p.m. local time there. This is in Boca Chica, Texas.
Worried about there. At that point, basically up until T-minus 40 seconds, all aborts are just holds. This would allow the team to wait for final checkouts to assess propellant levels, engines, avionics, vehicle pressurization, range, weather. Occasionally we've had shrimp boats lingering in the past, but that doesn't sound like that is the case today.
Yeah, not today. No shrimp boats, which is great. Everything so far is looking good. We're getting really excited here, just a few minutes away. We're going to go back.
3:44.
Starbase. How's it going, Dan?
It is still going great. Just coming up on about 3.5 minutes away, so we should be done with our prop load on ship momentarily. Then about 30 seconds later, we'll close out on booster. Our flight control team on board, or in the building just behind me, not on board. Some of them might wish they were on board. Flight control team in the building behind me, they're going to have a lot of work to do right after we lift off, as we still have a lot of manual checks that happen on the tower prior to the flight director, who's going to be Tristan Pierce again today, giving a manual command to bring the booster back to the launch site. And the tower did just incredibly well on the last flight. We didn't lose any of our required redundancy for a catch, and so we're hoping to see that again today. A lot of the team, really putting armor on the tower, making all of those things work, played a huge role in making that catch possible, and looking forward to hopefully seeing that happen again. And of course, sending our first payload to space. You can see the banana. It's very tightly secured, but I assure you it does have some room to float around. So once we're in a zero gravity environment, we should see our first Starship zero gravity indicator putting on a little bit of a show. And that's looking right in. That's where we're going to have Starlinks. That's our PEZ deployer. So getting its ride to space. So
again, the countdown clock is on the screen on the top left. The countdown clock is at the top left.
So that means we're no longer going to be flowing propellant into the booster and the ship. We're going to do what's called pushbacks. So all of that propellant in the ground systems is going to get pushed back to the tanks, clear out everything around the pad right before we light those 33 engines and take off. Just quick reminder, you're going to see fire start at the bottom. You're going to see the deflector start at about 10 seconds before launch. Lots of water to help dissipate all that heat, all that sound. And then the engine starting up in 3 different groups. And then about a second after T0, we should see liftoff. About 2.5 minutes into the flight, a little bit longer, we'll see hot staging. And that's when we're going to be listening really close on those loops to see if we're going to be bringing the booster back for a catch today. Do always want to caution, it's never a guarantee. We've done this once. We'll see if we do it again. We're only going to do it if the booster and the tower are looking really good before we attempt to bring it back here. But coming up on a minute, not tracking any holds on the board right now. So as long as we don't have any last second things, which do happen. All right, flight director just confirmed T-minus 1 minute.
1 minute, 50 seconds. 50 seconds.
Key moment to look at in 10 seconds, that T-minus 40.
40 seconds. Are we going to count down here?
And we flew right through that.
30.
Flight directors go for launch.
Go for launch, guys.
All right, we're now T-minus 20 seconds until liftoff
19,
of Starship Flight
18,
6.
17,
This will mark
16,
our second
15,
attempt to
14,
catch the Super
13,
Heavy booster
12,
at the launch
11,
tower,
10,
as well as
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Wow. Liftoff. Here we go. Whoa. And there it is, 400 feet tall. Incredible.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Booster Raptor, chamber pressure nominal.
Booster and ship, avionics, power, and telemetry nominal.
Nominal means normal.
All right, we're just a little over a minute
maximum
into flight.
dynamic pressure.
We're about 6 miles away, so all the sound's still hitting us here. Hearing good call-outs that power telemetry nominal, that's flying straight and true. We do see all 33 Raptor engines lit up on telemetry screens. At this point, we've passed through that point of maximum aerodynamic pressure, that max Q.
Trump is watching.
Now,
Trump is watching. I don't have access to that footage.
Over a minute from now is going to be hot staging. So we're going to see the 6 engines on the ship ignite while still attached to the booster. Just before that, we'll see all but 3 center engines on the booster shut down. In what we call MECO, it's most engines cut off instead of main engine. And so while we continue to watch it go up, a lot of our flight controllers looking at all the systems around the tower. Again, we have to send a manual command. Just about 30 seconds away from hot staging.
So in about 4.5 minutes, if everything goes well, the booster will land back at the launch pad and be caught by the chopstick arms.
And we heard the tower is go for catch.
Booster engine cut off.
The return flag is set for true.
The booster is separating. There's the booster right there.
Stage separation.
All right, hot staging confirmed. 6 out of 6 lit on the ship. Booster boost back going. We heard that we are go for catch. Kate, Jesse, take the views. Hopefully I got a booster coming home real soon.
Wow, from our view here, Dan, great views of planet Earth behind that super heavy booster. Right now it is performing the
Ship
boost back burn.
Nominal.
Good news there, telling us that the pressures inside the ship are good. That is the second stage, or the upper portion of the vehicle. Follow along with the telemetry on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, booster is currently, super heavy, is currently in its boost back burn. This boost back burn.
Avionics, power, and telemetry nominal.
This boost back burn lasts just a little bit over a minute. So we've got a little, approximately 30 seconds left.
That's the booster.
We've had shutdown of that boost back burn. Up next will be hot stage jettison. The view from the camera on the left, or from the booster on the left-hand side of your screen, and then tracking cam there on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll see those grid fins.
Booster offshore divert.
And we can also see that the hot stage has been jettisoned.
Yes, visual confirmation of that there on your screen, which is great. Now the next
Starship is following a nominal trajectory.
The next step for booster is going into that landing burn. Again, it'll light up 13 of those engines and then pare down to
They just
3
said booster
engines right
offshore
before
divert.
booster catch.
What did
All right,
booster
now, just real quick,
offshore
we did
divert
hear the
mean?
call out, booster offshore divert. Unfortunately,
No
that
catch.
means that we are no-go for the catch. As
No
we
catch.
said before, both the tower and the vehicle, as well as the operators on console, have been actively evaluating the commit criteria for that return to the launch tower. And unfortunately, we did not have a pass on those commit criteria. So we are no-go for
catch today.
tower catch.
And we
Sorry,
did mention
guys.
that.
No catch
We're
of the
constantly
booster today.
Evaluating the criteria for catch. There's a lot of things that need to go well in order to line that up. Unfortunately, today we will forego booster catch today. But what you're seeing on your screen is ship currently making its way towards the Indian Ocean, still looking good so far.
Exactly. So views there of the booster on the left-hand side of your screen, views of the ship on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, we said before that it was not guaranteed that we would be able to make a tower catch today. So while we were hoping for it, like we said, it was pretty epic on attempt 1, but the safety of the teams and the public and the pad itself are paramount. So
so for whatever reason, it was not a go for a catch, so they're going to land the booster offshore.
A lot of good flight data with booster even, but especially with ship. Again, we have an additional objective today to do an in-space relight of a Raptor engine, which again will help us set us up for being able to do deorbit burns, which is
ship chamber pressure nominal.
Which is important for orbital flights. And what you're seeing on your screen is a view from Super Heavy as it's making its way back down to Earth.
Yeah, once again, we are attempting an offshore landing of the Super Heavy booster. So we have seen this before, and it is still very fun to watch, watching it come down for a soft splashdown off the Gulf Coast of Texas. We can see it there re-entering. We saw earlier those grid fins. There are 4 hypersonic grid fins. Or we can see that the landing burn has begun on the Super Heavy booster.
So it is, they're going to land it on the water. There you go.
Down to 3, just as we expected.
So it landed. It's just not landing at the launch pad.
Of splashdown that we got today. Super Heavy.
Yeah, I'm sure the buoy cam views will be pretty awesome once again. So we'd like to confirm a water landing once again for the Super Heavy booster. Congrats to the SpaceX team for making that milestone as well. Now, ship continues to look good. We can see that it is, while all of that was happening, the crowd here in Hawthorne continuing to react to all these amazing views that we're getting. The next milestone is
Starship is in terminal guidance.
Great news there. Starship terminal guidance, referring to what we see here on our screen, the upper stage, at about 8 minutes 35 seconds or so, we have ship engine cutoff, which will be the cutoff of the Raptor engines.
That is the Starship spacecraft.
We can see on our screen ship giving us some incredible views brought to us by Starlink. This view is also very interesting because we can see basically the receding tile line that we referred to earlier, where we mentioned we have removed a number of heat shield tiles in order to test out and push the envelope on the ship and demonstrate what its capabilities are.
Ship engine cutoff.
And there we just heard call out for SECO, ship engine cutoff. Great news there. Everything continuing to look awesome for ship.
Full view looking aft on ship here.
Ship FTS is saved. Nominal
flight has like
insertion.
There's that call out we were waiting for. Confirmation of good orbital insertion for ship today.
That's about an hour to go.
It has been a very exciting afternoon so far. We'd like to send it back over to Dan, who can give us that live view experience. Dan, once again, are you okay after witnessing another Starship launch?
Yeah, totally fine. You guys have to be jealous. This is the only way to do this. This is fantastic. No, it was really cool to see a liftoff, 33 out of 33. Didn't go for the booster catch today. Initially, we were good, and then we tripped a commit criteria and did the offshore divert. So we went and did that water landing, as everybody saw. We'll dig into it a little bit more, but again, we've done it once, we've now done it twice. We're going to keep trying to do it, as this is just a core capability of Starship and what's going to make it so incredible. There's a lot left. We're just about almost 10 minutes into this flight. So about 50 plus minutes still to go. Ship nominal orbit, so it's on its way around the planet. It's going to attempt to do an in-space burn. We're going to light one of those Raptor engines, the sea level ones in the middle, just to help demonstrate that we can relight in that microgravity environment. Really critical for deorbit burns as we start to do some orbital missions in the not too distant future. And then following that, we'll see a ship entry, maybe a splashdown. As you guys said, we're really going to be pushing ship on this one. We're pretty much intentionally putting it in places where we expect it might not do so great, and all that's to try and help us learn, see if we were a little too conservative, and then maybe that opens up more capability for when we start catching them. But I'll check back in with everybody in a little bit. I'm going to tune in and watch the ship fly around planet Earth, and hopefully we see it re-entering in the not too distant future. Back over to you guys.
Thanks, Dan. Development testing, by definition, is unpredictable, which we saw with
I just posted a link to the video, which they didn't actually show it when the booster, once it hit the water, then it exploded when it hit the water. It did not. They aborted the booster getting caught in the mechanical arms. So if you want to see that video, Chris Bergen of NSF posted it, and I posted a link in the chat to that video. They cut away before it did that. I believe that's what it's supposed to do in the water once it makes that landing on the water.
Do not attempt to approach the booster in the water for your safety as well as for that of our team that will be working on recovery. Now, we are going to continue, though. The mission is not done.
Exactly. The mission's not over. Ship is still coasting. But it has been nonstop since.
Oh, and maybe, I don't know, maybe the booster still is there in one piece. There was an explosion that you can see in the video, but maybe that's a fuel explosion or something. So maybe the booster itself is intact. I'm not sure. If you look at the video I posted, you'll see there's an explosion after it hits the water.
Now we are still testing Starlink during this phase of flight, so nothing is completely certain.
Yeah, so if we do have views, we will be sure to bring those to you live. And of course, one of those views include that of our, as we said before, surprise payload, the Banana. And we are looking forward to it. So we're going to come back in a few minutes, around T plus 35 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Views or no views, we'll see you back here at T plus 40 minutes for our coverage of Starship's re-entry, flip maneuver, landing burn, and hopefully see a splashdown.
Okay, I think they're taking a break from their coverage. So what we're going to do is keep covering this, and I'm going to take some comments from you guys. So I'm going to say landing coming up. But again, what I have to see if I can get any information on it, but the plan was to have the booster, like the last flight, the big bottom part, with I think 39 rocket engines. That was going to come back to Earth about 7 minutes after takeoff and land at the launch pad like it did last time and get caught in the chopstick arms. But they decided to not have it land at the launch pad, and they aborted that and had it land in a controlled landing on the water. Okay, I think right now they have music on. Yeah, so let's take some. I'm not sure if they're recovering it. I don't know. I saw an expert on TV was saying that it's not reusable. Let me see if I can find anything here. Chris Bergen of NSF, which is a space site, NASA space flight, he said that tower was a go for the booster landing, but booster was not. I'm not sure of that. By the way, thanks to Captain Jerry Donnelly for your support, and thank you to Annie L., Mystical, Ann Fitzgerald, and Justin King. I'm going to take some more comments from you guys. Airtight Ski Pole, thanks for the bits. No chopstick arms this time. And I believe in about 20 minutes or so, they're going to resume their coverage. It's supposed to be, we're about 15 minutes into the flight, and it's supposed to be an hour and 5 minutes. We have video here. They're not really doing active. They're not talking about it on the coverage for a little while. I think it's just music right now. Yeah, it's just music right now. And there is a banana in the payload. AKA Big Worm says Trump was there for a catch and then it blew up. Stand by for star cams. Yeah, I think they're out of contact right now. Space Fraggle says, so that part of the mission was a fail. Now, this is a test flight, so they expect sometimes to have failures on the test flights and to learn from it. So that's certainly something they talked about before. That stuff might not work the way it's intended to. I'll see if I can find any updated reporting. Give me a moment here. Check a couple sources here. Oh, I just saw a piece of news. Hold on. Trump is nominating Dr. Oz to lead Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. I hadn't seen that before. Some of you maybe saw that. AP says President Trump tapped Dr. Mehmet Oz, a former TV talk show host and heart surgeon, to lead the agency that oversees health insurance programs for millions of older, poor, and disabled Americans. Just so you guys know. Trump said in a statement, I am very pleased to nominate Dr. Mehmet Oz to serve as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator. America is facing a healthcare crisis, he said, and there may be no physician more qualified and capable than Dr. Oz to make America healthy again. We're bringing you live coverage here. Again, they're just playing music right now. You can see the Starship spacecraft. Probably have about 15, 20 minutes till they start their active coverage of it again. So we're going to hang out, keep an eye on it, take your comments on the air until the coverage resumes. We may actually, it's possible we'll do another stream tonight. We'll see. I'll probably eat something after this stream, but we might do another stream later on some news. Sonic says some planes are off the coast on Flight Radar 24. Interesting. Oh, you mean planes off the coast? Well, I don't know. Where was the splashdown? Do you mean off the coast of Bolsa Chica, where the launch was? Is that where the booster went down? Near the launch pad? Hang on, I gotta pull it up here. Yeah, there's a U.S. Navy plane out there. Hold on a second. Sorry, Boca Chica. My mind stopped working. It's Boca Chica. There's a Bolsa Chica in California. Boca Chica, Texas. Where is... You can still see the Starship there on the bottom. Boca Chica is right near the Mexican border. Yeah, so I don't know if this is... If you look at Flight Radar 24, there are... hang on a second here. I'll show you in a moment. Yeah, the launch pad is right around, I'm pulling it up here. So here's Flight Radar 24. In this area is where the launch pad is, and there are some, that's a private plane. That's a plane, a U.S. Arizona Department of Public Safety plane that's been circling in the area. There's that plane, which is a NASA plane, which is circling in the area. What's the number 1 tracked plane? No, that's not what we want. That's in the UK. Anyways, so there is a NASA, that's a NASA plane right there. You can go to Flight Radar 24. Again, I'm not sure if that's where the booster landed there. And that's it says Arizona Department of Public Safety, even though it's not Arizona. So I don't know what the deal on that is. So, but you can look up, you can check that out on Flight Radar 24. Meanwhile, they're going to resume their coverage in I think about 15 minutes or so. I think it's just music right now. Yeah, they're just playing music right now. Why is NASA there? Well, you know, I know NASA, I believe, is working with SpaceX. So I believe, isn't this spacecraft supposed to take astronauts to the moon? Isn't that what's supposed to happen? Excuse my ignorance. And also to Mars. Moon and Mars, says Spencer. Yeah, Spencer Franson. So I don't know if... I mean, I assume since NASA wants to use it for that there's back and forth between them as this is being developed. Let me give you a little background on that. Yeah, like the Washington Post says, SpaceX is the launch provider of choice for NASA and the Defense Department. NASA has invested at least $4 billion in Starship, says the Washington Post. NASA has been NASA has been working to return astronauts to the moon under a program called Artemis, born during the first Trump administration. While NASA has put SpaceX at the center of those plans, Starship would ferry the astronauts to and from the moon. Musk is also interested in pursuing missions to Mars, which many think may get a boost under the new White House. Musk has said he plans to launch about 5 uncrewed Starship missions to Mars in the next 2 years, with possible crewed missions to follow every 2 years after that. NASA says Starship would ferry the astronauts to and from the lunar surface. Also, some other background from the Washington Post. SpaceX has established its dominance with an unprecedented number of launches in recent years of its Falcon 9 rocket, and the company expects the Starship program to help it stay ahead of its rivals. The immediate goal for today's flight was not only to prove that the rocket can be safely lowered back to its landing tower, which already happened in the last flight and did not happen today, but also to show SpaceX can pull this off repeatedly. So we'll have to wait till the next test flight, I guess, to see them do that again. It happened on the last test flight. Washington Post also says, for years, SpaceX has been landing its reusable Falcon 9 rocket on barges at sea or on a landing pad while the rocket's second stage is discarded. Having Starship return to the launch site would allow it to be refueled so it can fly again, allowing for cheaper launches and more of them. Aside from catching the rocket, which did not happen today, SpaceX wanted today to reignite the ship's engine while in space and test out a suite of heat shield experiments as the spacecraft re-enters the atmosphere. If the flight is successful, the Starship spacecraft will splash down in the Indian Ocean about an hour after liftoff. I think it's an hour and 5 minutes. We're at 28 minutes right now. Also, the Starship system is different from previous rockets in terms of its larger carrying capacity. It can carry up to 150 metric tons, according to SpaceX, or as many as 100 people at once. It could also be used to bring payloads back to Earth, a former executive said, opening up possibilities for satellite development and testing. Let me take some more comments from you guys. We're waiting for the SpaceX coverage to resume. One of our viewers, Z4 Web Forecast, says it can carry a banana. Wits End says modern technology is amazing. Thank you, Punished Foxo, who thinks one of the planes near the launch site is a NASA tracking plane. Oh, maybe with like a camera on it? You know, because they were obviously, there is footage of the thing landing. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if one of those planes flying around had a camera on it, if not more. Hey, thanks. Adrian R. just gave 20 people memberships in the YouTube chat. That is super nice of Adrian R. Thanks, Adrian. It's really kind of you. Again, a special shout out to our viewers over there on the platform Kick. This is our first. Hey, we're doing our own test flight today. How about this? Agenda Free TV is doing its own test flight. It's our test flight over there on the platform Kick. How about that? It's our first stream ever on Kick. Kick.com/agendafreetv. We're so new there, we're not even monetized yet. But a maiden voyage, exactly. So I appreciate all the viewers who are checking us out over there, like Big Bad, Hogleg, X Demos, Jay Gomez, Heinze, Find It, Fix It, Iraplia, Robin Fox, and others. Snipia 90. I got to learn some more about Kick. But figured we'd try it over there. The real-time trajectory? Oh, you know what? I might be able to show you that. Give me a moment. What is the site I use for that? I have to remember. What is the site I use for the real-time trajectory? Somebody's going to remind me. I've used it before. They very nicely gave me permission. It's the, I'm going to tell you guys in a second. I'll figure it out. What is it called? NY20. It's NY20, right? NY20.com. Yes. Can you find on NY20.com? No, N2YO.com. N2YO.com. Is this spacecraft on N2YO right now? Does anyone know? I'd have to find it there. N2YO. I'm looking for it. One of our viewers said altitude dropping slowly. I don't know what it's called on N2YO. They have space station. I can find that. Hold on a second here. Yeah, the altitude is dropping a bit on this, as you can see. Hold on a second here. Oh, why did that happen? I'm sorry, there was a weird thing that happened on Twitch, where the title didn't update the way I thought it was going to. Sorry. It said live Monday night stream. I just fixed the title on Twitch. I don't know why that happened. I might have done something wrong. That's stupid. Yeah, I thought I had changed. Anyways, that was strange. The banana is moving. Yes, I agree with you there. I don't know why that happened that way. How did that happen? Anyways. Now what happened? Oh, Twitch just went down and came back up for some reason. All right. I'll sorry the Twitch title was incorrect for a little while. Speed also increasing, says Sir Lord. Are they still playing music? Yeah, they're still playing music, guys. They're still playing music. Thank you to Ori Deckel for your support. So they will have their live coverage back in a few minutes, and we'll hear what they have to say. Jack's Animals says, amazing launch to sea. B. Shep says, speed increase. Look at this. So it is approaching Earth now. It's still 153 kilometers up. Again, no booster chopstick arms landing today. Sorry that didn't happen. They aborted it. I don't think they've announced why that is. Maybe they have to look into it and figure out what happened. Thanks, Omega Sparrow, for your support. He says, my first oil painting is a banana. McLean, yes, McLean asked about where the ship is going to land. The ship is going to land, I read this. Indian Ocean is where the Starship is going to land, in the Indian Ocean. As Adventurer says, Indian Ocean. Thank you to B. Swade J1. Yeah, that's a little off topic, B. Swade J1. The Matt Gaetz leak. Nothing has been publicly leaked. Reportedly, somebody who wasn't supposed to downloaded a copy of some testimony about him. But again, we're not covering that right now. So if I see big updates on it, I'll post it on my X account, or if we're covering it on a future team, we'll talk about it. Thank you so much, B. Swade J. Also, McLean 33. There's no public Matt Gaetz report released right now, or leaked publicly right now. Thank you, McLean 33, and Omega Sparrow as well. Thanks to all of our moderators. Ruth Krafasi is there moderating as we wait for SpaceX to resume their coverage, audio coverage. Misunderstood and Beth Mythical. Look at this video. Over there on YouTube moderating. Thank you. Also on Twitch, our moderators there. Big Ball of Yarn, LB Prairie Dawn. I Got That Fire, Surly Dev. And thank you, SPK9999, for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks to our Facebook moderators like Margaret Riley, who's over there moderating, Kay Lowry Body. This is not a manned spacecraft, by the way. And Linda Belk and Larry on X. Oh, they're talking now? Hold on. Oh, they're back. They're back. Here we go.
There's some light. There's that Raptor relit. And shut down. All right, there you have it. The first time ever lighting a Raptor while in outer space, other than our ascent burn. So really cool to see that relit. That's a pretty critical capability that we're going to need when we're doing orbital missions in the not too distant future. So check another one off. That was a really cool. That was an objective we really wanted to hit on this one, and so good to see Ship knock that one out in orbit. But for now, we're going to coast for just a little bit longer, and then it'll be time for ship entry. So we'll get the usual light show as we return from hypersonic velocities. We're just starting to do the entry prep for that, so we're going to get the flaps positioned, and then it's going to start taking the brunt of all of that heat as you're coming in from well in excess of 10,000 miles an hour. That's all going to build up a lot of heat as you're encountering an increasing atmosphere, building up that friction. And we're going to see how the tiles fare. We've also got some pretty cool tile experiments that we'll talk about in a little bit. But coming up real soon, ship re-entry, successful relight, and we'll start this entry part soon.
Oh, sorry. So they just did this thing where they did the Raptor in space relight demo. That's what they just did, which was the Where is it here? I want to read something to you about that. Ooh, look at this video. Yeah, they tested reigniting a Raptor engine in space. All right, guys, look at this. ASPR says plasma is starting. I got to keep checking to see when they start talking again. The altitude is dropping. Speed is rising. Wickedest Witch says, having that view unto itself is remarkable. Thanks. Hey, Ronald Egnor is moderating too. Thanks, Ronald, for moderating. Thanks also to all of our subscribers over there on Facebook: Eve Richards, Lou Green, Ronald Egnor, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Robert Rial II. All of our subscribers, thank you. And our Twitch subscribers as well. People like Wall Street Shaggy, Tegrity Farmer Bob, Jack's Animals, Radio Gum, Mr. Bigley Incredible, Taiki Fix, Big Ball of Yarn, thanks for subscribing over there. Chi-Town Bear. Solid Fox says, will Elon be in charge of the Space Force? No, that is not a position he has. No, they're not talking yet. Not talking yet. ASPR says, I love the glowing plasma. It's going to get crazy. And at the land, the re-entry is coming up, and the test flight has about 23 more minutes. The one and only says, uncredible. Ismo Kakonin is watching over there on Twitch. We got Dino Nuggets and Crazy Cat over there on Kick watching. 60 FPS is over there. Oh, they're still playing the music. Also, they said, I read that SpaceX said they intentionally had some of the heat shield missing to do tests. Yeah, they said they would have entire sections of heat shield tiles removed on either side of the ship to do some testing. They want to have a fully reusable heat shield. Hey, thanks, Mike, for your support over there on YouTube. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Again, thanks to BSwayJ1. Oh, still playing their music. Soon they will resume their audio coverage. Wickedest Witch says, experimental, gotta love the sciences. Toby said, another channel said that glow is plasma. We should see orbital sunrise as it starts to re-enter in about 3 minutes. Ruth says, the science is incredible. SpaceX said Starship has successfully ignited one of its Raptor engines while in space for the first time. Eric Berger with Ars Technica said the most important technical step on this flight was to ignite one of its Raptor engines while in space for the first time, and that was done successfully, apparently. Hang on one moment here. Are they talking yet?
Test flight.
Yes, here we go.
It's been an exciting day so far. We lifted off from Starbase at 4 p.m. Central Time. The Super Heavy booster and ship had a successful separation as well as a good boost back burn and good separation of the hot stage adapter. We did not attempt a return to the launch site and catch attempt today when strict criteria were not met and the Super Heavy booster executed a planned divert to a landing burn and soft splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, obviously, we were hoping to come back to the tower, but this was a test, and we knew that it was a very viable possibility.
Starship is at 85 kilometers. Flaps now have control of the vehicle.
All right, great news there, turning our attention over to the star of the show here, giving us these amazing views once again. We heard the call out there telling us that the Starship vehicle is now 83 kilometers above, coming up around T plus... well, now, actually, the ship, as you can see, is beginning to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. As a reminder, one of the main goals of today's flight test is for the ship to make it through the extreme heat of re-entry and to do so in a controlled manner. Now, re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communication capability with the spacecraft because it's re-entering at or around orbital velocity, which is roughly 8 kilometers per second or about 5 miles per second. Now at those speeds, yep, pretty fast. The spacecraft is moving through the atmosphere rather quickly, and that results in friction, as we can see that starting to happen on our screen, and this creates a plasma field around the vehicle. That blanket of plasma distorts communication frequencies, so it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication.
Starship is approaching the peak heating phase of entry.
And we just heard we're getting into the peak heating phase. We're getting these views courtesy of Starlink. We've got 4 different terminals on the ship itself. It's what's really allowed us to get real-time data during what's otherwise been just a mystery box, essentially, for spacecraft design, where when you're re-entering through the atmosphere, at least getting anything in real time hasn't ever been possible before. But we're able to not just get these views, but real-time telemetry from the ship as it's coming through. Do really want to stress that we are really pushing the ship today. The heat shield is not in the same configuration as it was last flight, where we had a team of ship techs do just an otherworldly task, replacing the entire heat shield, thousands of tiles, installing a backup ablative, and that pretty much set us up to do a pinpoint landing on Flight 5. We did not do that with this one. We have some backup in those really sensitive areas around the flap, but this is an older generation heat shield. And knowing we weren't going to do that, we even went and removed some extra tiles. There are some missing tiles on the nose cone where we're testing some backups. There are some steel-covered tiles in a couple of different spots. And there's also a whole lot more steel of the ship showing. As you guys talked about. We gave it a little bit of a haircut, a couple hundred tiles trimmed off the sides, and that's where we might have catch fittings in the future. But ooh, color's starting to come in. So it looks like things are going to start heating up, Kate and Jesse.
Wow.
Yeah, fun fact, Dan, we actually removed 2,100 heat shield tiles from Starship in order to basically present that necessary receding line, which you kind of can see there in your view. Think back to previous flights, the heat shield line came up further on the vehicle, and just like Dan said, we want to test the vehicle beyond what we think it is capable of carrying based on our simulations and calculations. So once again, to just be super plain, don't be surprised if we see some wackadoodle stuff happen here. We won't be. There are a number of things that we are testing out intentionally to see what the ship can take.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing what those limits are will really help us design the vehicle of the future. Essentially, removing those tiles helps us remove a lot of weight from the vehicle, a lot of things that might potentially need refurbishment in the future. And the goal is to come up with a heat shield pattern or design that we don't have to refurbish. We can just continue to use it over and over again. And that's why we're changing some of those tiles and moving stuff around, removing a lot of those tiles, as Kate has been mentioning.
Exactly. And, looking forward to the Starship capability of the future, we want to be able to catch Starship like we do with boosters. And so the next flight, we want to better understand where we can install catch hardware, not necessarily to actually do the catch, but to see how that hardware holds up in those spots. And today's flight will help inform, does the stainless steel hold up like we think it may based on experiments that we conducted on Flight 5? Now, continuing to look, amazing views. Yeah, Dan, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, there's so much on this flight that we're doing to try and, make all the ships that we're about to start flying even better, just really understand what their capabilities are going to be. We've got kind of the next-gen ship lined up for Flight 7. It's got all of those heat shield upgrades and everything. And one of the things that we're going to be doing that's most interesting, and one of the reasons we wanted daylight, is we're going to be flying pretty aggressively as ship comes in. We're going to be kind of nose down, and we've done it in wind tunnels. We've done it in simulations. You might see the flaps really flapping around trying to control the vehicle. We're betting we might have a little bit more capability than we think in just the analysis, but always a chance that bet doesn't pay off. But that just helps us know what are our
Starship
limits.
is now halfway through the peak heating phase of entry.
Sweet. Halfway there.
Halfway through
home,
peak
guys.
heating.
Yeah, and if you guys, again, can follow along with the altitude and the speed of ship as it's making its way back down to Earth, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, speed is still going really, really fast. Again, as it gets closer to Earth, we'll see that altitude drop a little bit faster. It's kind of dropping pretty slow right now. And again, as we get closer and closer to literally the surface of the water, then we'll start to see that speed pick up. And if we can make it through this re-entry, we will attempt to do that flip maneuver once again and splash down in the ocean.
Exactly. Like we've been saying, we are testing beyond the perceived limits of the vehicle. We want to go learn more about the ship, and this is a great opportunity to do that. So really pushing the flight hardware in a flight environment to help inform these future designs. As we've mentioned, it has a different heat shield. This heat shield is not the same generation as what we flew last time. This one is one generation older. So we are also testing out new secondary thermal protection materials. So basically, if the heat shield isn't in this one spot, can this other material protect the metal is the thinking there. Also, checking of the ship's structural strength in those areas where we're looking to add that ship catch hardware just to see if it survives entry. So yeah, as we've been saying, we've done a lot of calculations and simulations. This view right here is super cool. This is looking out from the aft engine bay, basically at the bottom of Starship. Then on the center left-hand panel, if you will, we have one of the forward Starship flaps, so one of the flaps located at the top of the vehicle. Underneath that is one of the aft end flaps, like the one that we see in the main picture there on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, these views as the vehicle continues to enter the Earth's atmosphere, drawing a crowd once again here at SpaceX in Hawthorne as folks tune in as the mission continues on. Now, the next event that we have coming up, we should hear the call out that the vehicle is transonic around T plus 1 hour and 2 minutes or so. That means that the vehicle is traveling near the speed of sound. We say near the speed of sound because there are certain parts of the vehicle where airflow is going faster and other parts where it's going slower. So it kind of teeters there on the brink of the speed of sound. So once we have equal flow on all parts, then we'll hear it's subsonic.
Hey, thanks to Gringo for the gift memberships. Gringo just gave 40 people memberships on YouTube. That's really nice of you, Gringo. Thanks also Ronald Kame and SJ for the gift memberships too. Ronald Kame and SJ, thanks so much.
So this is going to look different from any of the re-entries we've had before. And it was specifically so like we get as much daylight as possible to see how ship does this. Over to you, Jesse. Sorry about that.
Dan, great minds think alike. That's exactly what I was going to point out, is that we're getting a lot clearer view of the Earth in the background with the different temperatures that we're seeing with the different colors of that plasma around the ship, which is really, really cool to see. Again, we are pushing the limits of ship today, but so far everything is looking pretty nominal. We'll see how the next few minutes goes.
Yeah. Like we've said before, don't be surprised if this is not entirely smooth sailing.
SpaceX said adjusting the flight's launch window to the late afternoon at Starbase will enable the ship to re-enter over the Indian Ocean in daylight, providing better conditions for visual observations instead of landing at night where the landing is.
Not seeing any burn through. There's those flaps again in that hinge area, which is our most concerning area there. That's great news for us for now. Again, the next few minutes could change as we continuously push those limits.
Yeah, once we slow down a little bit, once we're subsonic essentially, so I think that's about 1,200 kilometers an hour. Once we're down below that, that's when we're going to kind of dip our nose down and get that more aggressive angle of attack. Normally we're just belly flop right into the water, pretty much that position. But if we're going to be able to do return to launch sites, we're going to want to be able to fly with a little bit more of an angle of attack, get you a little bit more range as you're coming through. And so this'll be just a test to see quite how far can we push it. And obviously we're going to do these kind of tests way out here in super remote areas before you ever try to bring a ship back to a place like Starbase.
Starship remains on a good entry trajectory. External temperatures are coming down.
All right, great news there. That tells us that we are through the phase of peak heating. So we are expecting these temperatures to continue to come down. Once again, we are targeting a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean around off the northwest coast of Australia. We can see these beautiful views of planet Earth coming in. Yeah, this is very different, where we had nighttime views of the ship as it was re-entering. And now we've got daylight. It is about an hour or so after sunrise there in the Indian Ocean. So pretty cool to see this.
Yeah, and it might not seem like it makes a huge difference, but we do get a little bit more light on ship as well for the camera views that we have, which is very beneficial for us to visually see anything and try and correlate that to any of the sensors or data that we have.
Yeah, you can see the ship
vehicle.
much better.
Exactly. That is why we shifted our launch window so that we could have that daylight in order to improve our observations of the vehicle. So not only are we getting all the raw data from all the sensors that are on board Starship, but we also have multiple cameras and assets out there that are watching the vehicle and will also be able to tell us with this visual story that is also very, very important.
And as we get down a little bit lower, the Raptor engines are in their chill phase right now, so just essentially getting them primed to turn on. We're going to use those 3 center engines to do a landing flip and then a landing burn. So we'll come down kind of in that slightly pointed down belly flop and then fire off those engines to flip us around and then do that final landing burn. That should be coming up in just under 5 minutes from now. And then hopefully we start hearing some call outs on transonic and subsonic as we slow down. Again, once you hear Starship as subsonic, keep a close eye on the flaps. They're going to be working overtime essentially to maintain control of the ship as we get a little more aggressive with this.
We can see that we are beginning.
Starship has passed maximum entry dynamic pressure.
All right, great call out there. But we can see on this view here that we do have some heating there on that looks like one of the forward flaps on Starship. This is to be expected. We knew that the vehicle would perform differently than what we had seen on Flight 5. This is actually really good data because it tells us what parts of the vehicle at this, what will soon be a higher angle of attack once we drop down below the speed of sound. We'll have a higher angle of attack, meaning we're going to be flying nose down, basically. So yeah, this is good news, but we can actually, looks like that heating is starting to cool off there.
Yeah, it's a little burn through. Again, it is important to note when we start seeing that through the ship's descent as well. So like Kate was saying, we're getting some really good data here. It looks like the other flaps are doing a little better than the one that has a little burn through, which is some good news. Again, constantly watching. We've got a couple minutes until we're expecting to make it all the way back down to Earth.
Exactly. And like we said before, we are not expecting to recover the ship, although that would be great. It'd be a nice bonus if it happened, but it's not really in our expectations today. We really want to push the hardware, as we've been saying, but really the telemetry and the data and the video that we receive all the way to the end is truly what we're looking for and will help inform the future designs of this vehicle.
We can see some flap movement as the camera is moving around. That's what you're seeing there is the flaps adjusting. We have a camera on one of the flaps there this is the view that you're seeing there. And you can also see the graphic in the bottom.
Starship is slowing down past Mach 1.
Going to splash down and
call outs aligning with this. You can see the orientation of the vehicle starting to change. You can follow that graphic at the bottom of your screen. Again, that is why those flaps are changing. They control the orientation of the vehicle.
Yeah, there are 4. Go ahead,
Starship has started the subsonic belly flop, remains on a good trajectory.
I was going to say this is when things will start to get a little interesting. So this is when we're moving slower than the speed of sound. You can see that nose slowly start to tip down, and we're going to try and maintain flap control the whole way. But we are just a couple minutes away from hopefully doing a landing flip and landing burn if the flaps can hold together.
Yeah, this is such a cool view. This reminds me of when we first performed the belly flop maneuver on the high altitude test with serial number 8. We saw the ship come back through, and I always wondered what it looked like from the ship's perspective, and this perspective, I think, helps inform that. We will be, as Dan said, we will be dipping down a little further and really be flying nose first. This higher angle of attack, we're intentionally doing it to stress those aft flaps, and that will help inform the limits of flap control in order to collect data for future landing profiles.
I mean, we're looking good so far. We've just got about 5 kilometers in altitude to go.
5 kilometers.
We'll ignite the
4
engines.
kilometers.
We're still just a couple hundred meters over the ground. Do that flip.
Starship is passing through 5 kilometers altitude. Remains on a good trajectory.
I have a feeling this is going to look so cool as it passes through the clouds.
Here we go.
Obligatory shout out to the entire avionics team.
Look at this.
Starship.
Wow.
And there's that nose down orientation.
Now the Raptor engines will relight and help flip the booster back up. This is a more severe flip given the orientation. The engines will shut down prior to the water making impact, prior to the vehicle making impact with the water.
Our ship is doing great so far.
There we go.
There's those engines relighting.
What a great reorientation by Starship.
Wow.
Very neat. Very cool.
Down to 2, into the water.
Splashdown.
Wow.
And we have ship Splashdown in the Indian Ocean.
Some awesome buoy cam
Look at that.
action here.
Wow.
Daylight views.
Incredible. We really pushed the limits on shipping and made it all the way back down to Earth.
I am
Very
shocked, to be honest. I think many folks are. The fact that it survived all the way through while flying a lesser gen heat shield is just absolutely incredible. And turns out the vehicle had more capability than our calculations predicted. And that is why we test like we fly.
Exactly why we do that. And those views were absolutely incredible to watch. Because of Starlink, we were able to get the views all the way down, as well as the buoys, seeing ship touchdown in daylight.
So cool. So cool. Now, we want to, unfortunately, wrap up the show.
Yeah, exactly. We'll say congratulations to our teammates at SpaceX and to everyone who supported the Starship program. And thank you to all of our future customers for your support.
We'd also like to thank the people of Cameron County, Texas, as well as the Coast Guard, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Government of Mexico, and the Australian Space Agency.
Now, be sure to...
What's happening? Are they stopping? Be sure to smile.
Hey guys, I could take it from here.
right.
That was just incredible to see that splashdown. As you said, thanks to everybody that took such a huge part in this. Everybody here at Starbase that's worked on this program, just really pouring your lives into it. Great to see another booster lift off. We'll catch it the next time. Great to see ship in the water. New version of ship coming soon, so a lot more exciting launches coming up real soon here from Starbase. But I'll send us out this time. We'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Be sure to follow SpaceX on X for updates and more exciting views that we weren't able to feature on today's broadcast.
I'm sure there will be plenty of those. Now, thanks to all of you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
There you go. So if you missed it, the Test Flight 6, they weren't able to do the thing where the booster, the rocket booster, the big bottom part comes back and lands at the launch pad and gets caught by the chopstick arms. That was not able to happen today. They had to abort that. I don't know the exact reason yet, but they did. The top part, the spacecraft, did perform very well in reentry. They had removed some of the heat shield and it still survived reentry. I don't believe they're supposed to recover it. So somebody said in the chat, is it supposed to catch on fire like that in the water? I believe so. I believe that was just expected, but it did a nice controlled landing on the water. So that's nice. That's good. Hey, let's take some comments from you guys right now. Robert Velk says that was amazing. And let's see. I'm going to take a few more comments. Heck No says waterline was kind of leveled looking. It was pretty neat seeing the shots of the water from the ship. That was neat. A lot of times when it comes down, it's coming down at night. So we actually, you don't see that shot clearly on the water, and you don't see the cameras could see a lot more of the ship as it was re-entering. B. Blake says, yeah, that was bananas. Demos on Kick says SpaceX learned a lot today. It's our first time on Kick today. I don't know if anybody over there on Kick who's watching right now, who's found the channel on our first stream on Kick, if any of you want to stick around after, I might stick around for a couple extra minutes over there on Kick just to see, ask people if they know something about Kick, if they have any, if they pick your brains about Kick. So we might stick around for like just a couple extra minutes on Kick after the end of the stream. All right. Yeah, exclusive. So don't go away on Kick if you're there. Stick around. Kick is a different platform. It's a different streaming platform. And thanks so much. Gringo gave a ton of people memberships. 60 people memberships. Let me read some more. Thanks, by the way, to Janice McConnell for your support. Thanks so much, Janice. And also our viewer, Ori Deckel. Thanks, Ori, for your support on X and for your donation. Ori Deckel, that's very nice of you, Ori. Thank you. Lee says that was so incredible. Again, this Starship is supposed to eventually take astronauts to the moon and to Mars. Elon Musk would like to take people to Mars. Rick D says, turns out it gets a little hot when it's re-entering the atmosphere. I don't know if they're even recovering the ship in the water. I don't know if they, or the booster. I don't know if they go get it or not. I mean, I would think that maybe there might be, you know, for example, for the booster, important data they get by recovering it, but I don't know for sure. I think on the stream they said they're not recovering the spacecraft. Let me see if I have any updates for you here real quick. So I guess Scott Manley posted that the test flight was visible from the International Space Station. So there's actually a photo that Scott Manley posted of the Starship from the space station. So I'm going to post a link to that in the chat right now. I just posted a link in the chat, but Scott Manley again posted about an hour ago that you could see the Starship from the International Space Station. Space expert Jonathan McDowell said he considered this a successful Flight 6. He says, I consider the unplanned demo of the safe booster wave-off a successful operation. Wes Downer says Mars test mission is set for 2026. Manned mission in 2028? That's what Wes Downer said. Hang on a second here. Here's a little update from AP. SpaceX, if I can show you this. SpaceX launches giant Starship rocket but aborts attempt to catch booster with mechanical arms. By the way, there's Trump. That's Trump right there in that photo from AP. That's Trump, and that's the launch. See? That's Trump. Okay, there's the launch there going up. Some more, it's more also the launch. That's also the launch from Associated Press. There is Trump right there. There's Trump. At the bottom, in the red cat. There is a photo of Trump. President-elect Trump watches with Elon Musk as Senator Bill Hagerty, and Senator Ted Cruz on the left look on, and Ronnie Jackson, representative of Texas. They also say Senator Kevin Cramer. They say Bill Haggerty, Ted Cruz, Kevin Kramer, and Ronnie Jackson look on. Another one of the launch. There's Trump there, right there. He has his hat on. Yeah, I know that there was video of them, but I wasn't allowed to show that video. There's Trump right there. Trump speaks with Brendan Carr, who I believe is his choice for FCC chair. Do I have that right about Brendan Carr? I'll look it up. That's before the launch. Yeah, Trump picks Brendan Carr as FCC chair. He was there too. There's Trump listening as Elon Musk here explains the operations in the control room ahead of the launch. There's Trump speaking as Musk explains the operations in the control room ahead of the launch. B. Earhart says Don Jr. was also there. There's Trump as well, and there's Elon before the launch. Interesting. AP says, unlike last month's success, the booster did not get caught by the mechanical arms, but it was directed to a splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico. The catch was called off just 4 minutes into the test flight. It was just a couple minutes before it was supposed to land for unspecified reasons, and the booster hit the water 3 minutes later. Not all of the criteria for a booster catch were met, and so the flight director did not command the booster to return to the launch site, said a SpaceX spokesman. He did not specify what went wrong. It was the latest test for the world's biggest and most powerful rocket that SpaceX and NASA hope to use to get astronauts back on the moon and eventually Mars, says AP. Trump flew in for the launch and in the latest sign of a deepening bond between the president-elect and Elon Musk. SpaceX wants to eventually return and reuse the entire 400-foot Starship, says AP. Full-scale recycling would drive down the cost of hauling cargo and people to the moon and Mars, while speeding things up. The recycling of SpaceX's Falcon rockets flying out of Florida and California has already saved the company time and money. NASA is paying SpaceX more than $4 billion to land astronauts on the moon via Starship on back-to-back missions later this decade. Musk envisions launching a fleet of Starships to build a city one day on Mars. This was the sixth launch of a fully assembled Starship since 2023. The first three ended up exploding. There you go. Dude, Buddy Man so mission was a success. Yeah, from what experts are saying, this seems to have been successful today. I mean, the one thing that we know didn't really go as planned is they didn't get caught with the mechanical arms, but space expert Jonathan McDowell thinks it was a successful test of the diverting it procedure, where they diverted it to land on the water instead, and all of that went fine, I guess. Gringo just gave 20 more memberships. Oh my gosh. Gringo. Wow. That's super nice of you. Look at all these memberships from Gringo. Please thank Gringo if you got a gift membership from Gringo. Ruth Kafati says, very much a success. Palm Tree says, impressive. Pre-breakfast Banana says, are the engines fine with a water catch? Yeah, so from, I believe what was said on the SpaceX coverage, they will not be able to reuse. Well, I know, I saw an expert on TV said the booster can't be reused now because it landed on water, and the spacecraft won't be used. So they won't reuse either of these, of the two parts of the whole system today because they landed on the water. Block says new booster ready for in a few months if you damage the tower down for much longer. That's what our viewer thinks. Hang on a moment here. Balding Slob on Kick said it fell into the water. Demos on Kick says Raptor test fire in space was huge. That was neat to see, though. Gleggy says they have multiple boosters ready and 2 towers. That's what Gleggy says. Hang on one moment here. The Washington Post says, with a much larger carrying capacity than any other launch vehicle, the SpaceX Starship is central to Elon Musk's plans for a human mission to Mars and for NASA's planned return to the moon. Also, the Washington Post says, Trump's visit to the launch site today came as Elon Musk has become a key advisor to Trump, a position that could give Musk enormous influence over the direction of NASA's exploration goals, as well as over the broader functions of the federal government. The Washington Post also points out Musk has repeatedly criticized regulatory agencies in public appearances and on social media posts over the years, recently suggesting the FAA has been too slow to certify SpaceX launches. Tesla, the electric vehicle company he runs, has been subject to product recalls from transportation regulators over its semi-autonomous driving system, and its customer base is enabled by federal tax credits. His smaller companies, such as Neuralink and the Boring Company, are also subject to government oversight. Musk and his companies, says the Post, have not responded to multiple requests for a comment on how he would handle possible conflicts of interest. They also say that SpaceX has established its dominance with an unprecedented number of launches in recent years of its Falcon 9 rocket, and SpaceX expects the Starship program to help it stay ahead of its rivals. Musk says he plans to launch about 5 uncrewed Starship missions to Mars in the next 2 years. Who knows, maybe we'll be covering a Mars Starship flight in the coming years on this channel. He said possible crewed missions could follow. They say possible crewed missions could follow 2 years after that. Wow. Toby says that would be pretty crazy cool. J.K. Sinar says that would be groovy. Matthew W. says Elon says a lot of things. I don't know how long it would take Starship to get to Mars. That's a question. How long would it take Starship to get to Mars? I wonder if I asked ChatGPT. Well, what will it tell me? I'm asking it. 6 months. Our viewers are saying 6 months. ChatGPT says Musk has hinted Starship could reduce the trip to around 3 to 6 months. ChatGPT said 3 to 6 months for whatever that's worth. If you want to look up their reasoning, go to ChatGPT. Some of our viewers are saying 6 months. Interesting. We're not doing a 6-month stream. Muji Sue says 6-month stream. Hell yeah. No, we will not be streaming for 6 months. Hey, Veronica. Thanks to our member, Veronica. Thanks also, Callie Raven, for your support, who says, that was really amazing. I think we get to the moon sooner than expected. And she shouts out the mods. Thanks for shouting out the mods, Callie Raven. That's nice of you. Nikki Newark says 3 to 6 month long stream in 2026 confirmed. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do now, is I am going to eat something, which I have to do. But if you're watching on Kick, if anybody on Kick wants to hang out, I don't know if there's anybody watching on Kick who's familiar with Kick. I'm going to check in with you. We're not going to end. We're going to go a couple extra minutes on Kick so I can talk to anybody over there who knows something about Kick, if any of you do. But what I'll do now is I'm going to start wrapping up the stream now. And it's possible we'll do another stream tonight. I don't know. I have to eat something. We might do another stream tonight. I mean, obviously, if there's new big breaking news, we'll do another stream. But we could do some kind of stream on new stuff tonight. But let me eat, then I'll figure it out. So subscribe and follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage here, like we covered the space launch today. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. It was really enjoyable watching it with all of you and hearing your comments and talking about it with you. So thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, follow the channel, and turn on the notifications. Turn on notifications. We have a notification system. It works great. It lets you know when we're going live because I can't tell you in advance when big news is going to happen. So it's free. You sign up once. It's done through Discord, and then you just get notifications every time we go live. So the mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat, and you can also find it in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. You can follow me on X at Lookner on X. Thanks, by the way, to Sonic for it now says X down there instead of the Twitter logo. Thanks, Sonic, for that. Follow me on X for breaking news when I'm not on the air. At Lookner over there on X. You can see right there, at Lookner. Hey, let's shout out our moderators. They are awesome. The reason that we can have chat rooms is our moderators. They are the best. Thanks for being here as usual, moderators, and being awesome. Over there on YouTube, Beth Mythical, Roberts May Queen, Misunderstood, and all of our other YouTube moderators, Linda Belkin, Larry on X. Over there on Twitch, Big Ball of Yarn, David Green, LB Prairie Dawn, I Got That Fire, Surly Dev on Facebook, K. Larry Body, Beth Shepard, Margaret Riley, Ronald Egnor, and Paul Anderson, thank you. Hey, if we keep streaming on Kick, who knows? Maybe we'll have moderators over there. I don't even know if they have moderators over there. I don't even know how it works. I got to get into it. We're just starting. So we'll have to see what happens with that. If you're watching on Kick, again, stick around if you want for a couple minutes after we end, because I'm going to not end the stream on Kick. And I really appreciate everybody who donated. Super nice of you guys. You are the ones who allow this channel to exist and allow me to get access to footage and articles, by news content. So I really appreciate your support for the channel. So nice of you. I think I thanked everybody, but hold on. I might have missed people. Let's see. I think did I get Valorica, our member? Thank you. Shout out to Gringo and everybody else who gave gift memberships. Really appreciate your support. And if you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. Also, we have a chat on Discord. You can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. A lot of our viewers like doing the Discord chat. It's the same link as the notifications. Maybe the mods can post that again. But check out our Discord chat. And let's see here. Oh, a quick reminder. If you do watch us on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications, but it's a little bit tricky to do that. What you have to do on YouTube to get the YouTube notifications is, so here's the YouTube page, is once you subscribe, you then need to click the bell. Click the notifications bell and choose all notifications. So make sure you do that if you're a YouTube viewer. Okay, I want to shout out our subscribers over there on Facebook. Thanks for supporting the channel, like Eve Richards, Robert Real II, Lou Green, Beth Shepard, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Ronald Egnor, Marie Minicello, Leanne Ticknor, all of our subscribers over there on Facebook. Thanks so much for supporting the channel over there. On Twitch, our subscribers there, like the Perry Man, Wall Street and Shaggy and Annie Cush, SPK9999, Crystal Coder, Big Ball of Yarn, thanks for subscribing. Gina Pina, Mr. Bigley Uncredible, thanks for subscribing over there. All of our subscribers over there on Twitch. And our YouTube members. Hey, thanks to our YouTube members, such as Marissa Pugliese, Chung Peter, Joe Hart, CAC813, Zinkman, Eric Johnson, Crazy Yoda, Evelyn Vollmer, Dejar Leis, Eric Johnson, Toby Network, J.K. Senar, KB Longhorn, TJ Adams, James Kirk, Mark G, Heather N, Evelyn in Maine, Robert Velk, Danielle Klingenberg, Fred Flintstone, Rolf Robertson, Arcadia, Valorica, Gene Romaine, OPR 357, Per Holstrand, Christopher Reed, Todd USA, all of our YouTube members. Thank you. Adventurer, Fedora, Ruth Skogstrom, Toby Network, Jenny and the Vet, Angelina Knox. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. Yvette Kim, and Vicky B, DB Franz. All of our viewers, thank you. Rita Evans Lang. Thanks, Rita Evans Lang, for subscribing over there on Facebook. Cindy said they said divers would be performing search and recovery, and now that part of the Gulf is closed. So maybe, again, I thought on the SpaceX stream they said they weren't going to recover the spacecraft, but maybe they'll recover the booster, or maybe both. I'm not sure. Thanks, Gleggy, for watching there on Twitch, and Night Owl. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do right now is... I thank Mick Bridges for subscribing. Thanks, Mick Bridges. Gina Pina. Hopefully I didn't miss any subscribers who were in the chat there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap up the stream. But if you're watching on Kick, hey, Kick viewers. All right, Kick viewers, if you're watching our test stream on Kick, I'm going to end the stream, and you're going to see the closing credits, but I'm going to leave the Kick stream going. So on Kick, you'll see the closing credits and the music, but don't go anywhere, because after about a minute, I will come back on Kick. Okay, Kick viewers? So just hang out while the graphic is up on Kick. If you know anything about Kick, because I want to ask people about Kick who are watching on Kick. Okay? So stick around on Kick while the graphic is up. All right. So I appreciate you watching. I'm going to eat something. We may have another stream tonight, news depending. But that is it for now. So I really appreciate you joining us for our live coverage of SpaceX Starship Test Flight 6. And we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.